What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another video. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be discussing what I do for you guys every year, which is pretty much a compilation of the favorite releases of 2020, of course, in my opinion. Based on all the releases, of course, 2020 was a very challenging year. We had the pandemic, so I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I thought about the designer industry. I'm going to talk about some of the releases that I thought was just a little bit, there'll be like an honorable mention section, which will be pretty much stuff that was your run-of-the-mill stuff, perhaps a little tweak here and there. Didn't quite make my top 10, but these top 10 releases that I'm going to share with you on a countdown manner will be definitely the most fragrances that I appreciated in 2020, were the most, and really thought offered something more than just more of the same. So if you guys want to check out my top picks, the best releases of 2020 designer edition, stick around, the video's up next. Today, of course, we're going to be only talking about the top designer releases. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on the top niche releases of 2020, stick around because that video will be popping up here in about a week's time. But without any further ado, let's hop into the honorable mentions here. I'm going to start off with a fragrance that I really liked. Gave me quite a good performance, but it wasn't good enough or different enough to earn a berth or a spot here in the top 10. And of course, it is Acqua di Gio Profondo. Acqua di Gio Profondo was actually pretty nice, was a marine infused or aquatic, a deeper version, a bluer version, if you will, of the original Acqua di Gio, which I do love. The original, the OG, especially the older formulation, is just incredible. This newer Profondo was actually pretty nice, but I think it was lacking a little bit of creativity. It was more of the same. If you smell the fragrance, of course, it's going to smell great. It's going to garner compliments. But it's not something that's different enough than what it's been done out there. Perhaps a combination of a couple different things, but all in all, the original DNA with this marine or aquatic bluish infusion to it. Good release, but I don't think great enough to become a top 10 favorites for me, at least in 2020. Another one, speaking of blue infused scents, is going to be Rochas Lom. Again, all these fragrances I actually reviewed for you guys, and of course I will pop it up here so you guys can check out those reviews. I'll also include those links of those reviews in the description of this video, along with, of course, where to find the best fragrances and the best possible deals. If I have any discount codes, I'll have all that stuff in the link of the description of this video to make your lives easier, as what I do here always is to bring you guys information, of course, savings, keep you guys in the know. That's what I do here. But going back, let me digress a little bit. Lom Rochas was a great one because it was a blue scent, which was very aromatic, very woody. And it had oak moss, it had this a little bit of a old school vibe. There's going to be other fragrances here in my top 10 that have a little bit of an old school vibe. But this one here, because it was pretty much essentially a blue scent, it was Rochas really trying to get into the blue game, you know, the Chanel, the Dylan Blue. It was, again, more of the same. A good release, I did enjoy, but didn't quite made my top 10 because it wasn't one that I was really wearing on and just reaching for it all the time. So again, another great honorable mention, but not quite the top 10 best release of 2020. This next one is going to be Boss Bottled Parfum or Eau de Parfum. Also reviewed for you guys, of course. I did enjoy this because it is a creamier taste, perhaps a little bit more mature take on the original, more vanilla. There's sandalwood in here. It's a little bit more refined, if you will, version of the original, but I think why change something that works? I mean, the intense version of Boss Bottle was just great. Now it's been discontinued. As you guys see, I share with you on my discontinued series here on the channel. Quite a shame to me. I did enjoy Boss Bottle Eau de Parfum, but I didn't think it was great enough of a release, and especially when it comes to discontinuing fragrances that we loved, which was the Boss Bottled Intense. So I think it was a wrong move on Hugo Boss, and for that, not going to make my top 10 releases of 2020. And last but not least, on the honorable mentions, I'm going to cluster these three fragrances together, which is going to be the Eau de Parfum version. I mean, this year, talk about Eau de Parfum. It was, nevertheless, was another flanker year. You know, we've seen a ton of flanker releases, and this year was no different, but it was mostly an Eau de Parfum release. Every single company was putting out an Eau de Parfum version of a flanker. You know, flanker of a flanker of a flanker, but on the Eau de Parfum version of those flankers. Needless to say, that's why I'm going to cluster these three together. It's going to be Tom Ford Black Orchid Eau de Parfum, the golden bottle. Of course, Night Vision version, the Parfum version of Night Vision from Viktor and Rolf, Spice Bomb. And last but not least, Eros Eau de Parfum from Versace. All three fragrances quite good. I think there were Definitely an improvement, if you will, but it wasn't really a departure. It was pretty much more of the same with a few tweaks here and there, errors. Was just highly performance, it was better performance, long lasting, which was really what the original EDT used to be. Now it's been reformulated so many times that it's so weak. Now they had to do another Parfum version to justify the performance, so didn't like that too much. Spice Bomb Eau de Parfum added this nutty facet with the pistachio note. Kind of gimmicky if you ask me. Again, really good for compliments, but not long lasting enough. So all in all, another one that was good, but not great. And last but not least, Tom Ford Black Orchid Parfum. Really good, love the tuberose infusion in there. The only reason I didn't make my top 10 best releases of 2020 was because of the floral aspect. The original was already very floral. The infusion of this creamy tuberose made the fragrance a little too cloying for me and very, very floral, even more so. Leaning a little more feminine to my taste, not something that I would really gravitate towards. So that's why I'm leaving this one the last one in the honorable mentions, because it almost made the top 10. Now, without any further ado, guys, out of the way with the honorable mentions, let's hop into the top 10 favorite, quote-unquote, best releases of 2020 designers. Let's go. This was going to be at the 10th spot just because I haven't yet reviewed it for you guys. I've had this fragrance for a couple of weeks now. I've been wearing it, love it. I've gotten this fragrance late last year. It was the last week of December. I've been wearing it for a little bit now. I did an unboxing video for you guys. Got this fragrance late 2020. It was released, I think, around fall in the Middle East. But it can be considered a 2021 release, and because it's not very easily attainable, it's not readily available here in the market, I'm going to leave this at the 10th spot. But it is a really good fragrance. This is going to be Stronger With You Leather from Emporio Armani. I love this fragrance. It takes the original character and DNA of the original Stronger With You from 2017 and adds this beautiful leathery facet to it. A great fragrance. Again, if you want to learn more about this fragrance, stay tuned. My full thoughts and full review on this fragrance is coming up soon. But enough said, this is a good fragrance, really, really good. Perhaps I'll even include this in my 2021 release when I'm talking about favorite releases of 2021 early in 2022. But that goes for the 10th spot, Stronger With You from Emporio Armani. The 9th spot is going to go to a fragrance that is going to be another blue citrus aromatic / aquatic fragrance. I don't really love those fragrances, but when it comes to summer and springtime, I like wearing those a lot because they're easy to wear, they're easy to get compliments, just one of those dumb reaches, grab and go, you know you're gonna smell great. And this is a very underrated house that I spoke to you guys about, I think sometime around spring or April of last year. And this is one of the best releases that they've had over the years. Really urge you guys to check out. This is going to be Extreme Sky from Michael Kors. Now this is a fragrance house that, like I said, gets absolutely no limelight here on the fragrance community whatsoever on YouTube. This is a good fragrance, guys. It's minty, it's blue, it's aquatic, it's very aromatic. There's citruses up here with fruits. It's a little bit creamy, very inviting. Reminds me of a lot of blue fragrances out there, especially when you talk about a popular fragrance. Of course, we can talk about Acqua di Gio, we can talk about Bleu de Chanel, we can talk about Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. It has a lot of those, components, but it has its own twist, which has this spicy, woodsy kind of a dry down, which really makes this stand out in the crowd. It makes it different enough for me to put this in a 9th spot. Really love it. It's not going to be groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination. Most of these fragrances will not be groundbreaking or trendsetter or something brand new in the market. This one here did quite well for me, especially because it performed very well. So to find a really nice blue citrus aromatic scent that actually gives you 7+ hours in performance, not very easy to do, and this one here did it. That's why I'm putting it in the 9th spot. Michael Kors Extreme Sky, released in 2020. Great stuff, guys. Check it out. You can find this at Discounter's website. Again, I'll have all this stuff linked below to make your lives easier. At the 9th spot, Michael Kors Extreme Sky. The next one here at the 8th spot is going to be one that I see a lot of fragrance companies doing, which is a very common thing that's happening now, which is adding floral notes to fragrances, whether masculine intended fragrances, and the note of tuberose in particular has been very commonly used in the construction of such fragrances. The one I'm talking about right now is a flanker to a very popular fragrance, 1 Million Parfum. Love the fragrance. You can see the review here. You're going to see how much I praised it. But again, it's going to fall on the same predicament and the same pattern as Black Orchid Parfum did. It's going to be a more floral, powdery, tuberose kind of an infusion version of the original. Still retained the character and DNA of the original 1 Million, but adding this more mature, refined, but really floral aspect to the fragrance, and with those nuances with the tuberose. that made this fragrance a little bit more feminine to my taste. You know, so much so that I don't even have the bottle here. My wife is actually rocking this fragrance. She kept it in her wardrobe, in her rotation. She absolutely loves it. I love it on her. So even though this was released mostly for men's, I think this was definitely a gender-free or unisex or shared kind of a fragrance. So hence the fact why I'm keeping 1 Million Parfum 2020 release as the 8th spot and not as high on this list. Really enjoyed it, but I think it leans a little more feminine for my taste. So let's keep going. At the 7th spot, a fragrance that could have easily been higher on this list if it wasn't hard to find. It's a fragrance that I think was exclusive to Europe. You can find this here and there at some discount websites, of course. I'll have it linked for you guys. But because it's not readily available at your general stores, I'm going to keep this here on the 7th spot. It is really good. I think it's definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite Armani Code at this point. I'm talking about Armani Code Absolute Gold, which is a flanker of a flanker Absolute. I reviewed for you guys the year before. I loved it, like 2 years ago now. Absolute Gold I reviewed for you guys last year. Again, I'll pop it up here. I think the Eau de Parfum and the gold thing is really taking off now. Every company, Eau de Parfum flankers, gold this, gold that, Eau de Parfum here, Eau de Parfum there. I think that's like the common thing now for flankers. But anyway, conversation for a different video. Let's keep things concise here. Really, really enjoy Absolute Gold. Because it's hard to find, I'm keeping this at the 7th spot. It's very good, it's very elegant, very sophisticated, very alluring. Women love that scent profile. And what they added here, making this even better, very strong, very powerful, this vanilla tonka vibe that we find with Armani Code. But the Absolute Gold just takes it to the next level with the spices. Absolutely lovely fragrance, long lasting on my skin. Definitely a great one. Could have easily been higher on the list with the ambery dry down. But because it's hard to find, I'm going to keep it at number 7. But again, solid release from 2020. At the 6th spot, this is a fragrance that, again, I think it's very much gender-free, shared, unisex, whatever you want to call it. But it really caught me by surprise because I was not a fan of the original EDT that was released 2 years ago in 2019. But this particular one really blew me away because of the quality and almost this niche quality about it because it focused on a note of figs. And when you think of fig fragrances, the best ones are probably from the niche companies that I love. L'Artisan Parfumé has Figuier, I forget the name now, but it's a fig-based one, which is absolutely fantastic. Figuier Adin from Armani Privé is absolutely fantastic. Diptyque has a great one. So there's a lot of great fig-based fragrances in the market, especially when it comes to the niche market. I love what Dolce & Gabbana did here. Of course, we're talking about Dolce & Gabbana K, the EDT I wasn't a big fan of. This particular one takes note of figs and adds this spicy cardamom with geranium, with lavender. You know, just a spicy, creamy fig with sandalwood at the base that was just, like I said, amazing. Blew my mind. Lovely fragrance, long-lasting, compliment guarding fragrance. One of my favorite releases for sure, hence the fact that it's in the number 6 spot. And don't kid yourselves, guys. Really a departure and really different from what the normal EDT gave you 2 years ago now, 2019. The EDT was very common, blue scent, aromatic, citrus, and it was very sharp for me. This one now, creamy, refined, more mature. Definitely, a step up from the EDT. Lovely fragrance at the 6th spot, Dolce & Gabbana K Eau de Parfum. Guys, check it out if you haven't. Now, as you're going to see here, as we get to the top 5, which are the big guns, these are the ones that I wore the most this year. Even some of these that I, discovered in the latter part of 2020, I really wore a lot of those fragrances and they gave me a lot of positive remarks, and I just love the way they made me feel, and I wore them, of course, for myself. The compliments are always a bonus. But I think these were solid releases from 2020 and definitely my favorites. Now, as you know, I normally like, I gravitate towards woody, spicy fragrances, oriental spicy, and of course, fougere-like fragrances. You're going to see that very present here in this top 5. Of course, tobacco, boozy, spices, those are going to be the notes, leathers that are going to be most predominant here in this top 5, as we get down to the best of the best, the cream of the crop, if you will. So this one here is going to be a citrus aromatic fragrance, lovely fragrance, released in the latter part of 2020. Absolutely outstanding fragrance because it, number one, for a citrus aromatic fragrance, it gave me beast performance. Number 2, it reminded me of 2 fragrances in particular, but mostly of one fragrance that I absolutely love, and it's now discontinued, fetching $200 plus for a new bottle. Of course, I'm talking about Acqua di Gio Essenza. This fragrance here is the 5th spot on this countdown, and it's going to be Bentley for Men Silver Lake. Again, did a full review for you guys. This is absolutely outstanding fragrance. Again, citrus, aromatic, a little spicy, very woodsy. There's a gorgeous note of cedar here. Absolutely fantastic. If you like Acqua di Gio, a lot of people compare this to Profumo. I think it's more of the Essenza feel to this fragrance. I own Essenza and I've compared them side by side, and I'm telling you, it's 85% similar to Essenza, guys. If you missed that fragrance, there's not much to say here. It's a great fragrance, long lasting. We know Bentley does it well with their fragrances. The 4-man line is outstanding, and this one here is no different, guys. At the Fit Spot, Bentley for Men, Silver Lake. We know Tom Ford does it well when it comes to classy, elegant, sophisticated fragrances. And what they're doing lately now, Tom Ford is taking a lot of those fragrances from the private blend that weren't doing very well in sales, and he's, dropping those fragrances in the signature line, which I love because, number one, it makes them more affordable. Yes, there might be some tweaks here and there. The fragrances might not be as good as they were in private blends because maybe they're trying to cut corners a little bit to make some extra buck, per mil. Business decisions, we all understand. But I have to tell you guys, this one here is an outstanding release from 2020. One of my favorites here in the Forti spot for a reason. You guys know I love barbershop, I love fougères. This one here scratches me where I itch. We're talking about Tom Ford Eau de Jour. Again, ported from the private blends into the signature line. And Eau de Jour is going to be this beautiful barbershop feel. Oh, this is so good, guys. It's creamy, it's lavender at its finest with oak moss. There's almost like a honey infusion here, almost get like a boozy effect in the beginning. It's quite strong. There's this green tinge to the fragrance. This is not for everyone, I have to tell you. You need to like, almost powdery in a dry down. There's some vanilla in here. You need to appreciate the fougere style fragrances to enjoy this. If you don't like fougères, barbershop style fragrances, you're not gonna like this. Perhaps a little bit more mature, perhaps a little aged. There's a timeless class here, an old world style vibe here. I absolutely love it, and I think they did a phenomenal job with this release. Tom Ford Eau de Jour at the Forti spot, guys. If you like a sophisticated, more mature, dressier style scent, check this out. Great if you dressed up a little bit, if you're going to use it for like a great office scent. Those fragrances that you want to put your best foot forward and show people that you're a fragrance connoisseur, this is definitely one of those. Tom Ford Eau de Jour at the Forti spot. At the third spot, a fragrance from the House of Guerlain. You guys know I do appreciate the House of Guerlain. In particular, there's one collection that gets a lot of limelight here, and it's the collection of L'Homme Ideal fragrances. This one here, 2020 release. Not easy to find. It's starting to get a little easier, but again, I'm going to show you guys exactly where I got mine. So if you want to get yours, you can. It's going to be Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Extreme. This one here, again, that vanilla, cherry, almonds, tonka kind of a vibe that you get with these L'Homme fragrances. But it adds this animalistic honey facet to the fragrance. It's got this boozy plum facet here with tobacco that is just amazing. It takes this fragrance experience to the next level. I love this. It has this very niche quality about it. It could have been released into their, private blends collection. I'm telling you, if this was bottled by a niche company, this particular DNA here, the scent character, could easily fetch $200 to $300. Amazing fragrance, great, long-lasting, powerful. Again, tobacco, plum, cherry, vanilla, boozy, amazing. Not much to say. One that I've been really, really enjoying right now because it's really cold for me here in New England / New York area. I've been really rocking the hell out of this fragrance, and it is a great fragrance when you really want to feel elegant, sophisticated, and also cozy. There's a cozy effect here with that boozy, plum vibe that is just uncanny, guys. Tremendous release at the third spot, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Extreme. At the second spot, if you guys follow this channel for any length of time, if you guys know my taste, you know how much I loved this fragrance. It has a special place in my heart because I was wearing this at my anniversary. Got quite a lot of compliments with this fragrance. I think it made my top complimented list of designer fragrances. So it's one of those, guys. You know I spoke highly of this on my review, so you know it was going to, you know it was coming. You know it was going to be here in the top favorites of 2020. And of course, I'm talking about the new Jean Paul Gaultier Le Mot Le Parfum 2020 release. This is going to be, as Jean Paul Gaultier themselves put, and so eloquently put, they said the sailor graduated into a captain. This is a captain, boss, CEO type of a fragrance. It just smells amazing. It has this lavender, vanilla feel that you get with the original, but it has this anise, star anise vibe to it that reminds me of a lot of great classics like Opium from Yves Saint Laurent, Azzaro pour Homme. It has a fougere style fragrance, but it's mostly, I want to say, an oriental, a woody oriental fragrance because of all the spices it has here. Long lasting. It gives me 10 plus hours. It doesn't project so strong as I would like it to project. It's about 2 hours, which is not bad, you know, for nowadays, especially nowadays, for a fragrance to project 2+ hours. Actually pretty good. If you spray your clothes, the sillage here is bomb. It's gonna last. The scent itself is sick, guys. Amazing. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna love it. If your taste is similar to mine, if you liked the original but you thought it was a little aged or perhaps even not as strong anymore. I mean, Ultramol was really the one that was pushing the boundaries as far as like being sweet and strong. This one here is strong, it's sweet, but it's not obnoxious. It's gonna be a little bit more refined. I love the combination of notes here. It has oak moss in the base. It's a little green, a little herbaceous. I love that spiciness along with that star anise, which by the way, it doesn't give you like a black licorice, even though I think black licorice is what they were going for. It's not gonna be too bold or in your face. It's still gonna be very well blended and mashed with the notes here, making this an outstanding release and great fragrance from 2020. Definitely on the second spot for a reason. Love this stuff. Can't get enough. You're gonna see this on future lists for sure. It is my favorite Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male from the collection at this point, guys. Check this out if you haven't. You're not gonna disappoint. What could be number one, guys? You know, I talked about looking for things that were not your run-of-the-mill, not more of the same. So I think both these fragrances, it's actually a two-way tie, and I'm gonna explain to you why. I think both of these fragrances are interchangeable. I think both could be number one, but I really needed to mention both of these fragrances because I think they come from two fragrance houses that were absolutely criminally underrated here on the fragrance community. Not anymore, because I think over the past couple of years, I think a lot of reviewers have been really talking about these fragrances very highly because number one, they are quality. They are giving us something more than what's out there today. A little more creative juices, loving their compositions, of course. Underrated houses, not so much anymore. But I wanted to give you guys both of these fragrances as my favorite number one choices for 2020 releases because number one, they're coming from underrated houses. Number two, they are different than anything you're gonna find at your general store. They really are standout fragrances. Number three, performance is great. And number four, you can find these at quite great prices and they're gonna smell amazing. They're gonna be long lasting. They're quite good for compliments as well. So they're all around great fragrances, exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking to place something in an utmost best, you know, top positions in my fragrances. Of course, you guys are by now saying, Max, shut the hell up, show me the bottles, tell me what the fragrances are. So without any further ado, my number one, my favorite releases from the designer in 2020 were these two right here. Issey Miyake's Polaris and this one here, Cartier Pasha Parfum. Absolutely stunning fragrances. So Polaris, I think it's going to be a fragrance geared more for evening wear. I think this is great for night out, for dates. But this fragrance reminds me it's going to be a combination between Interlude Man from Amouage meets Pegasus from Parfums Marly. I wore this quite enough. This is smoky. There's an incense vibe here. I think there's frankincense here. So this is really Issey Miyake going Oriental, going Middle Eastern. Love the stuff. Powerful stuff right here. But again, it took a little note from, you know, Interlude Man from Amouage, the Blue Beast, along with that metallic vanilla vibe that we get with the almonds from Pegasus. It combined both and gave us this incredible fragrance. This is criminally underrated, guys. Check this fragrance out. This is amazing, long lasting. It is a beast, powerful, resinous, smoky, creamy, you know, just amazing, guys. One word, amazing. Not the kind of stuff that you normally find at your designer counter. This is definitely going to be it, guys. Polaris from Issey Miyake. I would say that Pasha de Cartier Parfum is a little bit higher up on the list. Of course, it is a tie. I wanted to do a two-way tie for a reason. These two fragrance houses and these two releases definitely deserve the spotlight. But Pasha Parfum from Cartier is definitely the number one. I think it's the one that I wore the most, the one that I enjoyed the most in 2020. Of course, it has that original Fougère barbershop feel, but it embellishes the fragrance with these resins, these spices, and the whiskey note up here. It is just absolutely stunning, incredible juice. And I think if your taste is similar to mine, you're absolutely going to enjoy this fragrance, guys. Check out my full review on it. If you guys want to know the full details, in-depth, you know, details and you know, considerations on this fragrance, but it is absolutely groundbreaking fragrance from Cartier. I'm loving what they're doing. I'm hoping to see fragrance houses taking notes from Issey Miyake and Cartier because they are in the right path here. So those are my top 10, guys, or my top 15, or however many I talked about, but I just wanted to give you guys a full rundown on my favorite designers of 2020. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts, but I guess the take here is I'm hoping that companies are taking notes from Issey Miyake and Cartier because they're really giving us what we're looking to get. We're looking to get fragrances that are different enough, that will definitely garner compliments, that will be long lasting. We're always looking for stuff that it's not just more of the same. It's okay for companies to do flankers, but let's go back to the original Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum. I think that's the kind of stuff that we love. Flankers that are done the right way, taking notes from the original, adding a few notes and embellishments to making a standout fragrance perhaps even better than the OG. Because nowadays it's kind of really hard to find flankers that are better than the originals. But I think 2021 has a lot in store for us, and I'm, for one, very hopeful to see some incredible releases from designer brands. So let me know your thoughts below, everyone. Let me know, of course, your top 3, top 5, or top 10 favorite designer fragrance releases in 2020 that you guys enjoyed the most. Sound off in the comments. Of course, I'm going to have all these fragrances linked below so you guys can find them just like I found mine. If you guys want to find the best possible price, best possible deals, you know you can find it at fragrancebuy.ca, which is the partner of this channel. You can find over 14,000 fragrances and counting. They're always getting new stuff. 100% authenticity, fast shipping to the US. If you join the members club, you're going to get points, which you can actually apply towards future purchases with free, shipping and discount codes and all that good stuff. Again, I'll have all that information linked below for you guys. And of course, if you want to try fragrances, any of these fragrances before you actually buy a bottle, of course, you can do that at myfragrancesamples.com. Again, I'll have the link below to where you can find these, along with my code MAX15, which will give you guys 15% off at checkout. Again, all that information, where to find them, discount codes, you guys know it. I keep you in the know. I'll have it all linked below for you guys so you guys can, get the best possible deal. If you guys appreciate what I do here, if you like me keeping you in the know, if you guys like me saving you money, of course, don't forget to show me your support. Leave me a like. Touch the little subscriber button for more, and of course, enable your little bell icon so you get videos like these straight into your feed. I do videos every week. They're quite often on this channel. If you appreciate it, don't forget to show your support. That's all I ask for. As always, guys, remember, fragrance is emotion. It's an extension of your character. It's an extension of who you are. If you're looking to put your best foot forward, choose your fragrance wisely, but whatever you choose to wear it well. I'll see you guys again right back here with another review very soon. Take care.